When people think of Seoul, they usually think of K-pop, street food, and palaces. But what if I told you some of the most incredible places in the city are completely free? Today, I'm taking you to museums that completely change the way I see Seoul. What if I told you that you could experience world-class modern art, ancient royal luxury, and futuristic cyberpunk architecture in Seoul for absolutely $0? Today, I'm taking you on a journey through just a tiny fraction of Seoul's incredible museum scene. We're skipping the mainstream tourist traps to uncover hidden gems and architectural masterpieces that most travelers completely miss. Every single place on this list is 100% free, mind-blowing in quality, and ready to give you the ultimate day out in the city. Let's dive straight into the free side of Seoul. Where do you think we are? When you think of world-class museums like the Met in New York City or the Louvre in Paris, you probably picture massive entry fees, endless ticket lines, and crowded rooms, right? Well, today, I'm taking you to a place that shatters all of that. Welcome to the National Museum of Korea. Look behind me. This incredible architecture perfectly frames Seoul's Namsan Tower. But we're not here for a boring history lesson. I'm gonna show you why this place feels more like a futuristic sanctuary than an old museum. Let's go inside. The third most visited museum in the world. Nobody told you that was in Seoul. This doesn't feel like a museum. It feels like a city. And right in the middle of the museum, a 1,000-year-old stone pagoda, just casually standing here. This pagoda stood for centuries, long before Seoul became the city we know today. Right in the middle of the grand lobby stands a massive 14-story pagoda from the 14th century. This isn't a replica, it's a real stone pagoda, 14 stories tall, inside a museum. Wait, what's that? But if you look just 100 meters next to it, there is this massive high-tech digital media tower displaying stunning digital artwork. They kept the ancient monument untouched to respect the history, but placed this futuristic digital canvas right beside it to create an insane visual contrast. This is the ultimate crossover of Korea's deep heritage and cutting-edge tech, exactly how Seoul respects the past while living in the future. Speaking of digital media, if you think museums are just dusty display cases, step into this room. This is a four-sided, immersive digital theater. You're literally walking straight into a 1,000-year-old traditional Korean painting reimagined with ultra high-definition tech. Next, we're checking out the Celadon room on the third floor. Look at this space. The lighting and interior design are so mesmerizing that it feels like walking through a luxury jewelry boutique. This unique Korea Celadon has a mysterious jade green color that experts say is impossible to perfectly replicate today. It's the ultimate flex of ancient Korean luxury. All the things in this museum, this might be the one people remember most. We're walking into a space called the Room of Quiet Contemplation. In Western museums, you usually see hundreds of sculptures packed into one bright hall. But here, the architects designed a massive, custom-lit, dark, minimalist room for just 2 statues. Look at that subtle, mysterious smile. These are the pensive bodhisattvas crafted over 1,400 years ago. There are no signs, no glass barriers, and no distractions. You can literally feel the silence here. Honestly, this room alone is worth a trip to Seoul. But that's just one room. The museum holds hundreds of thousands of artifacts. Some let you interact with history. Others tell the story of the kingdoms, dynasties, and people that shaped Korea. And before you leave, don't skip this. Since the museum is completely free, this is where you actually want to spend your money. Welcome to the museum shop. Forget those tacky, cheap souvenirs you find on the streets. They take traditional Korean patterns and historical artifacts and turn them into ultra-trendy, modern lifestyle items. From these colorful miniature fancy bodhisattvas to stunning mother-of-pearl phone cases, this is world-class design. In fact, these items are so high quality that even Korean locals line up to buy them for themselves. The merch is so popular, it even collaborates with top brands including BTS. At first, it doesn't even look like a museum. And that's because it wasn't built to celebrate history. It was built to remember it. You are completely surrounded by these massive raw red brick walls, and the ceiling is wide open to the sky. The atmosphere here is deeply cinematic and almost spiritual. It feels less like a traditional museum and more like a hidden underground cathedral or modern art installation. Let's go inside. The deeper you go, the quieter it gets. And then suddenly, next we walk into the Consolation Hall. It's a dark, subterranean space where the raw concrete walls turn into a massive 360-degree digital canvas. The media art projected here tells a heavy, beautiful story of comfort and healing. Standing in the dark, surrounded by this moving art and music, gives you an absolute goosebumps. Light. What makes this place truly special is its story. This exact ground was a historic execution site centuries ago. But instead of making it a sad, dusty memorial, Seoul transformed it into this stunning subterranean architectural masterpiece to honor the past. Sky route. And then I found this. Wow! This is so surreal. This was the last thing I expected to see here. Wow. This doesn't feel like a history museum anymore. Every turn reveals something unexpected. The architecture alone is worth the visit. At this point, I completely forgot I was inside a museum. Look at these massive, endless pillars. Walking through here feels like being inside a scene from the movie Inception. The way the shadows and light play between these bricks makes you feel so small, yet so calm. One of the things I love about Seoul is how quickly it changes. Just a few minutes ago, I was underground. So we just arrived at the Seoul Museum of Art. Just look at this entrance. They preserved the historic 1920s Renaissance style facade and seamlessly blended it with a massive modern glass building inside. Let's head inside. Step into the lobby and you are greeted by this fully white open atrium. In Seoul, you can enjoy world-class contemporary art and architecture for absolutely $0. And like any great art museum, you never quite know what you'll find next. Here is the ultimate plot twist about this museum. This trendy art gallery used to be South Korea's Supreme Court. Judges used to hand down heavy sentences right where we are standing. But instead of tearing down this dark piece of history, Seoul transformed the hall of judgment into a sanctuary of creativity and art. Every floor feels completely different. The real magic of this place is its incredible accessibility. We're standing right in the absolute heart of downtown Seoul, surrounded by the busiest corporate skyscrapers of City Hall and Gwanghwamun. Now, ready for something completely different? This isn't about kings or dynasties, it's about craftsmanship. We're now at the Seoul Museum of Craft Art. Just take a look through this glass wall. You can see the traditional Hanok roofs of Bukchon. But obviously, this isn't just about the views. At this point, you might be thinking, haven't we already seen enough pottery today? But this museum goes much deeper. Here, you don't just see the finished pieces. You learn how they were made, why Korean celadon became so famous, and what makes it unique. The same goes for lacquerware, mother of pearl inlay, and other traditional crafts. And if you want to dive even deeper, there are guided tours that bring these stories to life. And yes, fashion mattered back then too. These clothes told people who you were. And here's an interesting fact about this place. We're standing on the exact history grounds where Joseon Dynasty royal weddings used to take place. And they built this hyper-modern all-glass sanctuary right on top of it. This right here is a visible storage. It's a pretty bold experiment, taking a museum's private storage and putting it right on display. And this is where you realize what you see on display is only a small fraction of the collection. It's actually a peek into behind the scenes of museum life. It's not meant to be a high-end masterpiece exhibition, but a raw look at how history is actually kept. Short, simple, and honest. Alright, we've explored the deep roots of Korean heritage, the city's everyday art scenes, and even peeked into the raw archives of history. We're leaving the historic alleys behind and heading straight into the ultimate neon future of Seoul. Look up. This looks like a massive silver UFO that just landed in the middle of Seoul, right? This is DDP, one of the most futuristic landmarks in the world. But here's the ultimate secret that 90% of tourists miss. If you look right beneath this cyberpunk spaceship, you'll find 600-year-old military fortresses and ruins from the Joseon Dynasty. Before we get to Seoul's future, let's look at what came before it. There they are. Inside this Dongdaemun History Museum, you can see exactly what they dug up when they built this spaceship. And it wasn't just a few artifacts. They uncovered an entire layer of Seoul's history. Centuries ago, this exact spot was a major military training ground. Think of it as the elite soldier base of ancient Seoul, which helps explain many of the artifacts found here. Weapons, military equipment, and objects used by the soldiers who once trained on this very ground. It is mind-blowing to see a 14th century fortress and a 21st century architectural masterpiece coexisting in the exact same coordinates. The Indoor History Museum closes strictly at 6 p.m., so you definitely want to hit that spot during the day. But don't leave just yet. Once the sun goes down, this entire area transforms into a cyberpunk paradise with insane neon lights. I'll show you in a moment. So we're gonna explore the past right now and wait for the ultimate neon future tonight. Let's keep moving. And just like that, we're back in modern Seoul. We're gonna head deeper into the indoor spaces of DDP to wait for the night views. There are some incredibly aesthetic hidden spots in here that you definitely shouldn't miss. Let's check them out. This is actually a beauty pop-up store. It feels more like a forest than a place to shop. That's what Jin does every day. This place isn't just about shopping. It's designed to be experienced. Scalp analysis, AI makeup, personalized skincare recommendations. Beauty in Seoul is getting surprisingly high-tech. And it's not just for adults. There's plenty here for kids too. There's always something new to see here. Let me grab the pen. And if you love design, you want to spend some time here. Forget generic souvenirs. This store, curated by the city, showcases the absolute coolest lifestyle goods designed by young Korean creators. This is where you'll find something uniquely Korean. Welcome to the future. Look at this view. Once the sun goes down, this 45,000 aluminum panel spaceship completely lights up. And this is why DDP has become one of Seoul's most iconic landmarks. Standing right under this massive curve of light makes you feel so incredibly small, yet totally inspired. I've traveled to a lot of cities, but I've never seen anything quite like this. From the ancient, sacred underground architecture to this insane cyberpunk spaceship, we have explored the absolute best cultural and architectural masterpieces of Seoul today. And the best part? Every single place was 100% free. Seoul proves that you don't need a huge budget to experience world-class inspiration. So catch a flight to Seoul and come experience this contrast for yourself. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next journey.